order. We do have a quorum, and we do have people to speak in public forum.
Yes, we do, but we need to call the meeting to order
She did.
and vote on it, right?
Determination of a quorum.
Okay. All right, yes, we have 2 people that would like to speak this evening. We have Ashley Nissen and Alicia Gruber. And you each have 5 minutes to speak if you'd like. I'll start a timer, and it will go off and be loud, and that, I'm sorry for that. But yeah, you can stand, you can sit, you can, whatever you prefer. And I'll start it now.
I'll stand.
Okay.
My name's Ashley Nissen. For those that don't know me, I've got 5 kids in the school district from junior to kindergarten, and things just have been happening over the last couple of years. I've talked with administration, and I just felt it's really been on my heart to bring it to the board. I don't know how much the board is aware of what is going on and some of the concerns. I've talked to current board members, I've talked to previous board members, and I will share what some of that is, but really my heartache is I'm an alumni from Harlan, and the school that I graduated from, I do not believe we currently have. And it breaks my heart, and it makes me really sad. The exceptional standards that were set when I was in school, I'm not seeing for my own kids. We're working very hard. Ironically, today the Capturing Kids Heart Survey came out, and in that you don't see anything about education and how we as parents feel our educational level is going. I've never been asked, I've never seen a survey. Do I feel like my kids are learning? What are they learning? We are currently trialing a science curriculum. My 3rd grader's been playing with clay for 12 weeks. That's what he's told me. Nothing about mass, nothing about volume, nothing about velocity. Are we throwing it? Anything, nothing. The 8th graders are frustrated. The teacher had to spend time right before conferences filling in the gaps that curriculum wasn't filling. The high school's frustrated with the curriculum. They're trialing, they're not learning. This is feedback from students, teachers. Is that information being asked? How is that being evaluated? How is that information getting back? It's frustrating. It's frustrating to see these kids, their grades are showing that information isn't being learned by test, is what they are seeing, feeling, what I'm hearing from other parents. I spent the last, 8 weeks asking questions, talking to families, talking to teachers, talking to previous faculty. It's a concern. Our English department, the juniors took a benchmarking test this fall, from what I am told. I have not seen the results myself, but that they are 30% below grade level. They spent freshman and sophomore year with the same teacher who did not teach. She didn't teach. They don't know how to write an MLA paper. They don't know what that means. So the current teacher that they have is trying to fill some of those gaps. We've brought our concerns to him. He's doing what he can. He told the kids this week that if their work is turned in, if they were a regular English student, that they would get an A. If they're in honors English and accelerated English, that they would get a B for the same amount of work. Because a B on a transcript in an honors English looks better than an A in an honors English. That's what the kids were told. To me, that's unacceptable, and that makes 0 sense. We had a Spanish teacher put her feet up on the desk, put her earbuds in, and take a nap during class because she didn't feel good. She also gave a presentation about her cancer journey and was appalled when I came to her and was offended by this presentation. Why does my 17-year-old boy know about breast expanders and implants? And that presentation was approved by Mrs. Ring. I understand talking about a cancer journey. I don't think that was appropriate. And when I asked her why she felt that she was doing that, that was how she was capturing kids' hearts and connecting with them. So if she didn't go through cancer, how was she going to do that? She said, like I always do. Well, it's not. What was it? She had nothing else. I have all kinds of information and feedback, and I will email it to all of you from teachers, parents, faculty, of things that they are seeing, frustrations we are having. I want these kids to learn. I want them to have the education that I had. I want the Sally Clausens of the world back. right? I can tell you my first English paper had more red writing on it than it had black ink. I'm a great writer today because of that. They don't even know what MLA is. How are we evaluating teachers? When I asked administration how we evaluate teachers, I was told that it's done formally every 3 years. That if they meet minimum benchmark standards, that they can renew their nursing or their teaching certification, and that a principal is supposed to be in classrooms. Ask the kids, do you see a principal in your classroom and how often? Is that reported back? Is there a report? What feedback is provided from that? Do you see that? As a nurse,
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
it's okay, I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Would you like to go next?
Yes, and I'm just
Okay.
gonna put mine. I'm Alicia Gruber, and I grew up and attended school in Iowa, but not Harlan. My husband's active duty in the Air Force, and we have lived in multiple places, with Offutt being his current station. We never planned to homeschool, but we started as a result of lack of quality education in one of the places that we lived. A few years ago, when we moved to Harlan, we put our boys in school, assuming that Iowa still had great schools. We've since decided to remove them from the school and dual enroll, after realizing that our kids receive a much better education at home. When we first started, there were only a few students who also dual enrolled. Homeschoolers largely fell into the category of religious families who didn't want their children to be corrupted by the public school and therefore didn't participate in anything having to do with the school. I just want to inform you that the trend is changing. Families who are now transitioning to homeschooling, or the families who regularly ask me questions to determine if homeschooling would be a good fit for their family, are well-educated members of this community who are concerned about the quality of their children's education. They're not pulling kindergartners who learned a bad word on the playground. They're wondering what to do with middle school and high schoolers who still don't understand basic concepts they should know if they want to attend college. And they're dual enrolling because they would still like their kids to be around students, but they don't want them to be around the academics. My 8th grader is currently dual enrolled and takes 3 high school level classes and 2 middle school classes at the school. He would absolutely love to attend full time for the social aspect, but he realizes that the quality of his education is reduced significantly the more that he is at the school. Of the 5 hours a day he's at school, he averages about 1 entertaining himself on a screen because he's bored. He gets an A in every class and rarely has homework. Our goal for him is to transition into being full-time by high school, but we're torn because we would also like him to be academically prepared for college or whatever endeavor he might choose. As a family who plans to live in Harlan indefinitely, as my husband will be retiring, we spend countless hours investing in this community. If you have children, we might have coached your children or had them in youth group, and we're concerned about the future citizens that Harlan School is producing. I'm very aware that the decline in test scores is a nationwide problem, but I also know that we have an opportunity to make positive changes at a local level. I didn't come here tonight just to complain, so I would like to offer some practical solutions. First, it's the obligation of the school district to identify, evaluate, and challenge gifted students. Provide advanced classes for them, instead of just accelerating them to the average difficulty class at the next grade level. Pay another tag teacher. We have 1 tag teacher and 15 special ed teachers. Ms. Landsman's wonderful, but there's also only so much a teacher whose background in English can do to challenge higher level students who are gifted in math and science. Second, please have someone beside teachers evaluate new curriculum. Invite members of the community who work in the specific field to participate in curriculum selection. The new science curriculum is currently being trialed, and I'm sure it's wonderful as far as my son's teacher is concerned. When he gives a child a worksheet, lets them read and discuss for themselves, and never has to prepare a lecture or teach the material. Just because it's easy for the teacher doesn't mean it's the best curriculum for the students. Third, find a better way to hold teachers and students accountable. Find ways to identify and reward great teachers and eliminate those who are ineffective and incompetent. Support the teachers in their efforts to discipline students and maintain order. Fourth, reduce or possibly eliminate, if you can, tech in your classrooms. Studies show over and over again tech has proven to be more of a distraction than help. Force teachers to come up with work for the students to do instead of relying on tech to entertain them so they won't be a disruption. Please let's engage students' minds and their critical thinking instead of teaching them to let AI think for them. Lastly, as board members, I urge you to ask questions as to how many students are currently dual enrolled and why they are choosing to no longer be at school full-time. Dual enrolled numbers count in your total enrollment, but the district doesn't receive compensation for these children for as much as they do for ones that are fully enrolled. The numbers can look fine, but the funding is declining. Families in Iowa have choices. Let's make Harlan Community the place where they're choosing, not the place they're leaving. We know that numbers equal resources, and the more resources we have, the better opportunities we have for all of our students. My family is privileged to have options for schooling, but not everyone is. Every child in this community is valuable and deserves a quality education. I recognize that this is a complex issue with no easy solutions, but I also know that Harlan Community has the ability to choose what they teach, who teaches it, and how they teach it. So I'm happy to help in any way that I can, and I thank you in advance for taking every step you can to bring about positive change. Thank you.
Good job. Time tours.
Is that everyone who wanted to speak?
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Thank you
Appreciate
so much.
we're not allowed to comment, but thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next up, discussion items. We have superintendent report.
Okay, we have some special guests today that are going to present on the NAMI on campus, which is one of the first groups in Iowa that is doing this. We're super excited. So I'm happy to introduce Mary Sandeth and Ramsey Hussing. So you guys can go ahead and stand up and I'll put your presentation up here. And Miss Brenda Renter is the sponsor. So I'll start right here and you guys can tell us all about NAMI. Sorry. There you go.
Okay. Hello, my name is Mary Sanduk, and I am the president of NAMI.
And I'm Ramsey Hussing, I'm the vice president of NAMI.
Okay, our mission statement is NAMI is a student-led community that promotes mental health awareness, support, and stigma-free conversations. It's for students by students. Okay, here's our board. Here's our members. Of course, we have me and Ramsey Hussing, Noah Meeves, who is an 11th grader, Aubrey Pecci and Helena Hall, Abby Anderson, who are also 10th graders, Zeke Christensen, and Zoe Scheffler, who are seniors, Zachariah Rouse, who's an 11th grader, and Jaden Duckett and Elizabeth Swanson, who are also 10th graders. We have no freshmen. And here's our table of contents. As we go through the slides, you can refer to the papers that we have given you.
Okay, NAMI on campus is a national alliance on mental illnesses. It is by the students, for the students. Why is NAMI and mental health important? It raises awareness and reduces stigma. It helps students understand mental health and the challenges of stereotypes. It provides support and safe spaces. It gives students a place to talk to and makes it more natural to talk about it. It encourages early help seeking. It teaches students to recognize early signs when you're not feeling well, or if you are sad and you can talk to somebody before the issues get worse. It educates and promotes understanding. It informs students and staff about mental health, fostering empathy. It empowers students to lead and advocate for each other. It gives students tools to support peers and create positive change in their school. And the mental health affects everybody. It is a part of a daily life, and struggling is not a weakness. Break the stigma. Myths and stereotypes prevent people from seeking out help from adults and other students. And then struggling is not a weakness. Asking for help is a strength, not a flaw. Mental health versus mental illnesses. Well-being is different from diagnosed conditions.
Mental health is not exclusive to you only. It comes from many different people, different backgrounds. Me and you have different lives at home, but mental health is not different for all of us. We strive to represent for everybody, no matter what your background is.
On the right is how schools are now, and then what we can do on the left is what we can prevent. Right now, stress from academics, activities, and life changes, anxiety about school, peers, or the future, depression or persistent low mood, pressure to perform academically or socially, impact on friendships and relationships, effect on social esteem, confidence, and overall well-being. And what we can do to prevent this is teach coping skills early on, build resilience in students, develop social awareness, encourage healthy habits, routineness and self-care, and create supportive environments before crisis occurs.
Okay, what we do on NAMI on campus is we provide peer support and organize awareness campaigns. So we have a fundraiser coming up February 15th, and we are raising money for our club at the basketball games. So if you can come, be there. We offer educational events and opportunities for students to lead initiatives. So this past week, I hosted my first meeting all alone. I was so nervous. They made me feel really welcomed, even though this is my first club that I've ever been president for. Yeah, and how we could apply this, like apply mental awareness. You could listen without judgment. It doesn't take anything to just shut your mouth. And no one to tell or trust it at all. Like, don't keep this to yourself, please.
And then we have our flower petals. So we want to be helpful to other students. We want to be accessible. We want to always be available whenever someone's feeling low. We want to be also helpful, which also connects back to helpful. We want to be reliable. We want to be able to actually help students and want to be able to do something about it. And then encouraging, we want to encourage people to talk about it and make it more natural. And then supportive, we have supportive adults like Miss Renter in the school to help out.
As we wrap this up, we have a message for you all. Join us, be a part of supportive school community, start conversations, reduce stigma, and help bring NAMI on campus to more schools.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. And if you get nervous at running a meeting, just imagine Mr. Mosier wearing a Doug's cap. It helps me. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, student accolades.
Mr. Moe?
Yeah, I'm looking at the same pictures here as you have up there. So that was the second and third grade music program, which was a huge hit. It's so fun to see them up there. I mean, it's their Academy Awards. I mean, it's pretty cool. And then the three in the middle are Miss Christina, our naturalist. She's one of the favorites. If you don't know her, she brings the outdoors indoors. We go out when we can. And basically what she's doing here, it's a turkey because it's close to Thanksgiving, but she has...
you.
Pardon? That was me. Yeah. But she does have other wings. She brings in sample wings of other animals, and of course she brings in her eagles as well. And the kids just love it. They eat it up. So we're very lucky to have her here and have our kids be part of that. Then the last is, how did I get in this picture? I'm in that picture. See, there's a principal in a classroom right there.
That's good.
Proof. Sorry, I can't help myself. Anyway, this is Hour of Code. Last week we call it Hour of Code. It's actually not an hour. But kids are specifically focusing on how to do some programming and coding. And this was just a 5th grade class that I was visiting when that was going on. So it's 2 through 5. It gets a little complex. We have some B-bots, they call them, at the early age where they do some programming. It's pretty cool. But mostly it's 2 through 5 doing the programming. And they have different choices on what they can select. Some are like video game, like they can tell it's not a Pac-Man because they have different names now that I don't know, but it's the equivalent of my Pac-Man where they can tell it to go this direction, turn right, go this direction. So it's interactive and fun, but at the same time they're programming. So anyway, that's what they were doing in these pictures.
Mr. Mueller is at the game, so here are his. So those first parts are kids participating in a Capturing Kids' Hearts activity there. And then this one, the foods class had an assignment, a project-based assignment where they had to come up with a specific food, a menu, and a food truck design, so marketing, so using their skills to look at the whole big picture of something as a project. And then we have in art, they're working on 3D art design. And so the picture on the left is a painting there and a sculpture. And then the one on the right is a Dale Chalui sculpture. And there's a couple different ones of those at the middle school right now. I know at one point he had this is a very famous sculptor who had something that was on loan at the Omaha Art Museum as well, and it's just huge in the middle, but it's made of glass, the one that he does, but they've emulated this. So this one they made with Harlan colors and they put it into the new middle school office. So, and it takes quite a long time to get it done. So they study the artist and then they each work on that. They've been working on this like all semester. So, Casey?
Yeah, I captured some pictures when I was in and out of classes last week, and so on the left there is our algebra classes. One of the things that they have is the Barbie bungee, and this was a Julie Duvall classic project. I think she started this and did this for years, and so they have to predict how long the bungee cord has to be before Barbie hits the bottom of the stairs, and so that would be like algebra. That middle picture is Capturing Kids' Hearts. All teachers are in halls greeting students at the door, shaking hands as they enter the door. Then I have a couple pictures. I was in the wood shop and they have just the neatest projects. Last week was, you could tell a lot of our project-based classes, kids were getting down to the wire as they finished the semester. And so their projects are all starting to come together. And so there was a bookcase, coffee table, girls in the metal shop, they were drilling holes. And I wish I would have had time. One of the kids had made for his girlfriend a bouquet of flowers that he welded out of washers, and he had it painted, and it looked just like a bouquet of flowers. And he was taking it to her as part of his project. And so, yeah, the left there is the Woods 1 class. They're all making cutting boards and sanding it. So, spoiler for moms, I was asking them, which mom are you going to give this, or grandma are you going to give this to for Christmas? The art classes, they were all out in the hall. They were doing perspective drawings, and so they were looking kind of down each of the hallways out there working on perspective. And then on the right, we have Candy Cane Lane, and our student council came in and decorated one of the hallways, just the stripes all the way down to the middle school there, and it looks pretty festive and fun, and the kids thought that was cool. That's all of them? That's it. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Kids are way more talented than I am.
It's pretty cool.
All right, go ahead.
Anthony texted me to tell you that Caleb Ernst just set a school record in bowling just now. He just scored a 279. So we have a new bowling school record.
79.
Officially tonight.
That,
He said to say he got a 279, and I said, in what?
that's impressive.
So good job, Caleb.
Personnel report.
Yes, sir. It's quite short this time. We had one of our cooks resign at the end of the school year, or at the end of the calendar year. We have hired some coaches, and then we have 2 coaching positions available. As you know, at the start of next school year, we're gonna put Spanish back up. And so we'll be looking for a new Spanish teacher at the start of the year, and good old Brian, we're gonna post his job in January as well. So we'll have some vacancies, but they're not currently open yet, so very, very short and sweet this month.
Any questions on the personnel report? Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the early retirement incentive. Would you like to speak to that, Karen?
Yeah, so each year we consult with Brian, and he looks in the management fund to see how many opportunities we may have for someone to retire. The past few years, it has been a $15,000 bonus. This year, we are able to do up to 3. So if there are 3 teachers, so we have $45,000. If there would happen to be 4 teachers, then we could divide that by 4 people as well. So this has been something that the district has done for many, many years prior to me, and it's been more money, and it's been also additional insurance incentives, and we've taken that down to just the $15,000. So what this does is helps us look at staffing. So do we need to replace the teachers that might retire, or are we able to fill that without? And it also helps us save money in the end, because most likely these teachers have been in the district and they're on the highest of the pay scale, and we're bringing in someone lower. Not always, but most of the time, yes. So Brian, anything else?
It just allows us to be more strategic in our hiring practices too.
What is
So-
the end time the end date?
January 31st.
Is it that way?
They get a certain number of days, I believe it is.
I think it says in
It
here.
has to be
Yeah.
put in by then.
Yes, they can,
We
yep.
have to
and then
approve
they-
it first, and then, so they can start on the 16th, like tomorrow at 7:30 would be the first time anyone can come tell us that they would like to. And they have to have it by,
January 29th.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
I knew it was in there.
Yeah, it was in our.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean to stump you.
No, that's okay. It's a year
Moved
later
it.
than it's usually
A
been.
month
Usually
later.
it's in November and then we do it in December, so that's what I was.
Any questions on early retirement incentive?
If we have good teachers, why are we incentivizing them to retire?
That is the question I have. Is this early retirement or early notification?
Early notification.
This is, yes.
Notification.
So that helps.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more us wanting to know if you're going to retire at an earlier time, so we have a jump
Gives
on
us longer.
hiring ahead.
To recruit for a teacher.
So that hopefully we can
But then you're gonna
recruit.
pay
better
them
teachers.
to retire at an earlier time. So you are incentivizing them to retire? Yes,
I suppose you can,
okay, just checking.
We've had a lot of really
There's been
good
a lot.
discussion over the years about the validity of this program, and I really like the program, and it seems like it works. It's not just from a financial standpoint, but we've got some really good benefit, I think, as a district over the years that we've done it. It seems like it's been a good. That's why we've done it each year after looking at it. We've had some years where we've looked really deep on it, and other years we've kind of just saw it as a good thing, and they didn't really talk about it that much, but especially the last few years, we've had good discussion.
I believe a teacher has to be at least 55 to do it, so
There are minimum.
they will have taught for at least 22 years.
And 10 years.
Most teachers will not teach beyond, most of the people in my family are educators. Teachers get tired. So sometimes they do need something to do different. It happens. I mean, I've thought the same thing. Why are we incentivizing good teachers to leave? But sometimes teachers need to leave.
Sometimes they stay longer because they want us.
Anyone else have questions?
Are we allowed to ask questions? I'm sorry. Okay, just checking.
Move to approve the early retirement notification plan for 2025, 2026.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next up is approval of the modified supplemental amount for LEP instruction beyond 5 years in the amount of $11,742.
This is kind of what I explained in the board packet, but the limited English proficiency is what LEP stands for. And so you get money for students for up to 4 years, but if we have them that aren't quite English proficient in year 5, we're able to bill back for the money because we're serving them anyway. We're not going to not serve them. So we've spent over our budget on that by $11,742, and what this says is, can we get the spending authority back? So it's not the money we get the spending authority back.
It operates somewhat like the sped deficit at risk. You're gonna be spending the money. It's just giving you the ability to get the authority back.
I can't imagine why we wouldn't
Yeah, I don't either.
get authority back if we can.
Yep, absolutely.
Any other questions on that? Get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Approval of the modified supplemental amount for enrolled out, not on prior year count, in the amount of $125,468.
So this is the same, it's very confusing the way it's written, so that's why I explained it to you. So these are actually enrolled out of another district in to us. So we have spent an additional $125,468 on students that are coming from other districts to us. And we want the spending authority for that.
Any questions on that?
Discussion.
Yeah, it's an annual thing.
Once again, spending authority annual.
What they do is, once certified enrollment's done, then this actually is all preloaded. The Department of Education sends it out and say, you have the ability to get the authority here, because essentially it's called on-time funding is what they're doing, is otherwise you're waiting a whole year, so they're allowing you to get the authority right away.
Need a motion?
Yeah, motion please.
I'll motion to approve that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next up we have approval of request for allowable growth for modified supplemental amount for dropout prevention in the amount of $516,065.
We had them all in 1 month this time.
Yeah.
Very rare, usually there's 1 October and 1 November and 1 December, but they actually all the applications came open at the same time. This is, again, like sped deficit, except it's at risk. You are gonna spend the funds, and essentially what they're allowing you to do is go back and get the authority, because you've spent the funds.
It's 5% of the total budget.
That's what it is.
5%,
It's
ours is 5%. Some
5%
districts,
of the district.
That's what they allow us.
the district cost per
Okay.
pupil is what it is.
Okay.
Not the, but some school districts, a while back, they froze it. So when you see sometimes on the legislative pieces, this gets up at the legislation sometimes to vote for.
Yeah, there is another thing on this one. If you choose to not go and get the full amount of authority that you're allowed to get for at risk, you'll cap it going forward.
So you
So
won't be able to
some-
go back up. So if
You'll
next
be-
year it should be
you-
600,000, you can't ask for that.
I would
You
say
still
there's
get this.
305, 10 schools that are at 5% throughout the state. There's a handful that are at 2.5% because they did not ask for the authority. This is probably 10 or 15 years ago, and the legislature said, well, if you only want 2.5, that's fine, but that's all you're getting going forward. And they've tried to change it for the last 3 or 4 years, make sure everybody gets 5. And the legislature said, no, if you're at 5, you're at 5. If you're at 2.5, you're at 2.5. But just I always want people to understand on this one, if you choose to ask for less authority, then you're gonna cap yourself going forward.
Waukee is one of those that's at 2.5. So they don't get, I mean, you think how many students they have. So
Then they exploded in growth after.
and then they grew, yeah, yep.
And again, it's you're asking for authority, the money is spent.
Any further questions? Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next up we have approval of 2026 student Chromebook bids.
You got the sheet.
Yep.
Yep. So with the current market for Chromebooks, we got a lot of emails from different vendors saying everything is being given to AI right now in terms of processors priority, as far as RAM or memory priority is all going to AI centers or big data center projects. So Chromebooks are kind of the bottom of their priority, which means with the tariffs and everything going on top of this, Chromebooks could become harder to find this year. So I reached out to vendors regarding the current model we currently have, because there's not a lot of change in Chromebooks this year. And these are the 3 bids I came up with. RTI matched the same bid they had last year. What got me about these bids was the 4-year ADP. Nobody's touching what RTI is giving. ADP is accidental damage protection. They have 4-year warranty basically. Kid drops it, breaks the screen, we send it in, it gets fixed. So, any questions? The RTI bid is $83,000 and some odd dollars lower than everybody else. So,
Jeremy, one of the questions that a board member asked earlier was, did we ask about Iowa vendors? So do you want to talk?
so we typically contact Lightspeed. I think it's Lightbox, sorry, out of Erling. We typically talk to them. In the years I've done this, they haven't even come within 25%. I wish they'd come closer, because at 10% we could probably work something. Just saying, hey, you're this close, can we get something done? But I just think they're not built for these big numbers and the discounts that the bigger vendors provide. RTI's been the company we've gone with since 1-to-1 started here. So they've always come in low bid, they've always come in and had the best interaction-wise with RTI. We know how it works, they know how it works. We just, kid comes in, I broke my laptop, okay. Put it in a box, ship it to RTI, they fix it, turnaround's about a week. They ship it back to us.
Are these all new units? Or
Yes, they're all brand new units. Yep.
Back to the earlier questions, I wasn't clear, were any Iowa companies asked to bid this year?
No.
The other comment question I have on the Chromebooks is, I'm one of the bigger tech supporters, I think, in the area, but I wonder if, as a board, we don't need to look at our 1-to-1 tech policy and evaluate the impact that's having on kids right now. I brought this up several times over the last few meetings, but the amount of screen time that they have in the classroom is higher than I think it probably ought to be, and I'm seeing move toward cognitive first type policies in some of the more progressive countries and schools that I wonder if we don't need to be considering before we spend a bunch of money on additional tech.
Is this replacing current ones or what?
So every year the current 9th grade class gets brand new, the current 6th grade class gets brand new. And then it replaces one of our elementary classrooms as well. It's 550 of them. They get a 4-year cycle, regardless if they're in middle school, they go 3 years and then they become a loaner machine, or they go to a different 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade room. Through high school, they're 4-year freshman all the way through senior. When they're done as a senior, they're done. So we do cycle through them, yes.
How would that, when you say one-to-one, what do you, so every student not having a computer?
Or at least not being pasted to it 100% of the time. When I ask my kids how much time are you actually doing anything of value on your computers in the classroom, the answer is not very much. They're screwing around with it. They don't need to have it up and open most of the time if they're being taught something.
Certainly is a cultural situation, and it seems like it's changing so fast that it might make sense to really be proactive in having some kind of a study, and maybe we do, that where we find out a little bit more about this kind of information, because if it's changing, it might be totally different this year than it was 2 years ago, and we would certainly want to know that, but I don't know how you do that unless we put together a study. There's people interested in it, obviously, and I think it might be good to have more data. I don't know that that would affect how I think about this one. It seems like we're probably at the place where I would think we maybe need to do this, but I would think going forward we might want to look at.
Well, even if we work to minimize, that still means we're utilizing them.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we need
still,
them. My daughter had to read.
we're discussing the bid, not necessarily how we
My daughter had to read a book
utilize
on
them.
her computer last night because she was not allowed to bring the physical book home from school. She'd much rather read from the physical book than on the screen. That's not real great for their eye, so I think they get overutilized. And I've had kids in the district a long time. I do think the curriculum got a little more less structured because we were finding things online to teach instead of that's maybe changed now, but when we switched over to, I think we need to address some of those things. But I think we still have to use computers because those are, where do we not use computers?
Can't go back to books and paper.
No,
right?
but in study hall, there shouldn't be games happening, and phones should not be happening, and there are some things that probably need to be policed a little bit better.
Can I bring something up? One of the things that, it's funny that not funny, because I've been hearing your point, I've been hearing it a lot, not so much in Iowa, but in other countries and there's a couple states. Kansas is looking at making it so kids can't take the devices home. Which to me, when you look at it that way, where the teacher will go, okay, you have a project or you have homework, so you check it out from the teacher. I believe that's gonna cause a lot, having that situation here would just change how we do business. So instead of having all them, this is checked out to you and this is checked out to you, it's checked out to you, but you have a home for it every night. You plug it in here at school and you go home and then you come back the next day, and if you have homework, you would take it home. We just had a meeting here with all the tech directors from the AEA. And so that would be,
From schools
yeah, in our,
belonging in the AEA, so
to our
35
AEA.
schools. Yeah,
So we hosted and that wasn't even a thought for any of the schools that were represented there yet. But everybody's listening and everybody's keeping their ear to the ground to see where the trends are going. So. But I'm afraid that if we didn't get the Chromebook bid in and get it done now, it would double or come close to. I could be exaggerating, but I'd rather not take the chance when the price came in that good. It's way under what I budgeted for it, so.
Is this an inventory dump because they're moving to AI?
They're moving their priorities to AI, so RAM is going, or processors, Intel is focused more on AI data centers.
Yeah, but even for personal hardware.
For personal hardware, it's gonna be the same. So even if you look at laptops, or you look at Macs, or they're low on the priority level versus office machines, and then your AI data centers, servers, things like that are gonna they're gonna get top priority. So it's gonna be an expensive year for everybody looking for technology.
Any other questions or discussion on the approval of the Chromebook bid? Can I, go ahead.
Well, it sounds like we probably should look into this, you know,
I think it's
going
more,
forward, but
I think we have to have them.
I think we still
But
gotta
I think
order
how
them.
they're
Yes,
used maybe
yeah.
needs to be.
But I do think we need to probably, you know, do
Study.
something. Do a study, take a look
Sure.
into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
And I do think parents could be involved in the
Yes.
study a little bit more. I think that's important.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the, oh, I cannot read that from here. RTI in the amount of $178,200?
Yep.
That, the bid by RTI.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
All right. Up next, we have policy review schedule, first reading.
Greg, I'm out of order on this, but request to the administration that we have got to bid these things through Iowa companies whenever possible. Even if we don't award them, we've got to give Iowa companies a chance to bid these.
All right, policy review schedule, first reading.
I've got two questions. First is with the student publications, 50403. First is in, I think it's labeled, the new labeling is point C, where they're recommending removal of that unofficial school publication. To me, removing that changes the potential meaning of what's listed under that point, or at least the interpretation of it. It's a little confusing. New point G, there was a typo, we just needed to add a space, and then in new point F, district employee rights, that seems to be a bit of an overreach in my opinion on this particular policy, you know, the one that's aimed at student publications. I think if the board needs to consider this level of employer, you know, district employee rights, that's a separate conversation, but I think it's also listed in point E above. So, my recommendation would be we strike point F and do not strike the line about student publications from what's in new point C on this particular policy.
So you strike F.
F.
Because it's listed above and it's most likely listed in other policies for under employee rights, because this is more of a student policy. And then unstrike C, the very first one, in an official school publication, leave that in there. And then there's a typo,
I fixed it.
and the typo's fixed, okay.
Okay.
So you're, dismiss, suspend.
Unstrike E
Yeah.
and remove F.
No,
F.
Everyone know?
unstrike C.
Or unstrike C, sorry, and remove F.
F is stated kind of at the top too, there, Roger, district employees acting within
redundant.
the scope of their professional.
Yeah,
so
I
it's
read
redundant.
that. But
Actually,
we're leaving what?
it kind of
We're
skips
leaving
F.
E? Is that right?
Yes, we're keeping E.
The new E.
Okay.
The new E skips the new F. Like, it goes, the new E.
Yeah.
Oh, no, F is there. Never mind,
That
sorry.
was there.
I see it.
Yeah.
It's just all green instead
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Yes.
So keeping, we're striking F, okay, keeping E, okay,
It's stated twice, kind of.
yes, yeah, okay.
Okay, good with that one. Okay, now Pete has another one.
Any other questions on?
Yeah, other
first
question,
reading?
Greg, on 50405 student fundraising.
And
Just
it was-
wondering why.
Yeah.
we're doing it this
Yeah,
way.
I didn't know how to say this and like to use, so, ISB does not have this policy, and so we just kind of, in order to rescind it from our policies, this is how we would show doing it, but then Pete, would you like to say what you?
So I think there's actually some practical implications if we were to
Yeah.
strike this completely. I don't know if policy in its previous form was right, but practically I see us taxing the community quite a bit through fundraising more and more, and one of the things I think we need to do is find out how to bring in money from outside. And the school's done a great job of bringing grants and things like that in here the last year, but we've got to do a lot more of that. But realistically, I don't want to see our kids turn into little Amway people anytime we need some dollars for something or other. I know from the music boosters point of view, we run into situations where we'll have somebody want to raise money somewhere, and the questions I hear in the community are, well, I already donated to the boosters, why aren't the boosters paying for this? I thought that's what they did. So I think we'll create some, I'm not saying we need a hardline gatekeeper, but it's just some common sense policy on how we go through the thinking of when we should raise money and how that's done. Makes sense to me, so I guess I would have a concern just cutting the policy completely.
Could we just keep the policy?
Well, I think what we'd like to do is maybe take it out of first reading and have the policy committee look into maybe rewriting it next month.
I think that
It's
makes
kind of
more
what
sense.
we'd
We
like
can
to
start
do.
with what we had,
Yeah,
for sure, Roger, but it
absolutely.
just, are we actually using it as it's written, or do we wanna?
We're not.
Yeah, I don't think we are either, so, and I think maybe if Anthony could be a part of that group, that'd be good, because that's where a lot of the fundraising starts.
Okay.
For the most part, not that there isn't fundraising at the elementary and the middle school levels too, but he has probably the most, requests of that, so.
We
if we
really
could-
have three main, sorry to speak out of turn, three main, the Ed Foundation is what we really want to start with, we've talked about, and the athletic boosters and the music boosters being secondary of, large donations go to the Ed Foundation, and then what should go to athletic and what should go to music, and then approval from them out through me and us.
I think, and Pete, we talked a little earlier, but if we don't have anything, who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
We need some kind of a policy
I
with
agree,
rules, so, yeah. So, if we approve this, can we approve it with,
We'll just take it out and.
Take it out.
Start over next.
start over?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
And then we'll get the policy, whoever's on policy next month together, and we'll present
a new,
a new one next
Okay.
month.
okay.
I'd move to
So-
approve first policy readings minus 50403 and 50405.
I had a question.
Yep, let's hear it.
I'll second that.
Whoa.
Wait.
Discussion over motion.
Okay, I had a question. Under the career education, it said that the board reviews curriculum. And I wondered when we do that. When do we review curriculum?
Written into the education
Which one?
community.
It was under career education. I wasn't like Pete and I didn't write the,
No, here it is, right here, it's up there. So, career education is written into the educational programs grade kindergarten
Last
12.
the board in its review of the curriculum will review the means in which career. I
Is
just wondered
when.
when we review.
So that career is on our curriculum review process, and so it was in your interim time when you were on the board and not on the board, so I can definitely share with you that cycle, but it is up there. So like right now, we're in the science and math review and special education, but career is actually next year, the CTE stuff is.
Okay,
So
but we do review curriculum.
we share with you, so yes, I don't know, I mean, we need to look at that, we
Okay.
probably should look at that. Mhm.
Okay, and then my other question was the PE waiver.
Yep.
It's my understanding that you cannot take a study hall and get a PE waiver, but it didn't sound like that in the policy.
That might be a practice and not in the policy.
I've been told that is a state requirement. Semester.
Yeah, I didn't hear you well on that. Could you repeat that?
The PE waiver, if you have a study hall, you're not allowed to take that. You're not allowed to get a PE waiver.
No.
But if you have a full academic load, you can. And I've had multiple kids that this has happened to, so.
Interesting.
It might be practice. I could ask our counselor.
Okay, they were told it was state, but I mean, I just wonder if we're.
Do you want us to pull this one and reread it next time, and then we can ask the counselors if it?
I missed that. I mean, it says academic courses, not that. I just wasn't sure, but I know that has been something that has been stated, that you cannot take a study hall and get a PE waiver. So.
I think that is practice, but we can double check if you want us to.
Yeah, I think that would be it.
60306. Thank you.
I can interject about your other question with the curriculum, because the elementary's purchased over the last 6 years, literacy and math, and the board approved the purchase of those. So I don't know what you mean by review, I guess, but as far as the final say.
We do approve.
We had our committee of teachers do a presentation and then answer questions, and then I don't remember if we did it a month beforehand, ask questions before that, and then the next meeting it was on the agenda for action. But that's how it's been done previous to this board.
And will be done with the science curriculum once the pilots
Yep.
are through and the teachers and everyone's making this.
Those are my questions.
Okay, so we'll pull that PE one out, Jennifer.
Well, we have a motion on the table, we can't just pull it, we've got to amend it if we're gonna do that, but I don't know that we need to pull it, we can pull it off the second reading if we have to.
Okay, we'll get back to
We'll
you,
get back-
Jennifer.
we'll get
with
you the info.
Yeah. Okay, so it was Pete and Roger, right?
You good? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Policy review schedule, second reading.
What is a non-curriculum organization and a curriculum related? It was in 504 and 02. I know you guys read this last time, but I wasn't.
Student organizations?
Yeah.
Sorry. Thinking.
Yeah.
What student organizations, what?
Hey,
Here we go.
Okay. Which part? Non-curriculum?
What are the curriculum related and non-curriculum related? Like, are non-curriculum related sports?
Classes and things like that, and then non-curriculum would be.
Well, I think, so NAMI, the one that just spoke with us, would be a non-curriculum related.
Okay.
Student council would be.
Student council, things like that, but then we also have robotics or Spanish club that would be more curriculum related. We have a foreign language club. What else, Casey? Science club.
Like occasionally there's things that get scheduled over each other. How are those decisions made? I mean, it seems like this is how those decisions are made as to where students go. How do those decisions, how are those decisions happening? Say there's a choir concert and a basketball game, and you have figure in both. How do you decide what you have to go to? I would guess choir is curriculum related because it's part of the GPA, and that's non-curriculum related. But I know kids go to the non-curriculum related first.
I think first is the student has a voice, and so it first goes toward what would they prefer. I think during like a spring sports season, if they're in multiple sports, they designate a primary sport and then a secondary sport, and so that helps to navigate. There are, sometimes in choir, there can be a grade related to their attendance, and so if they don't attend, then working with the teacher on how they could make up that grade.
So this policy doesn't decide that? That was my question. Does this policy decide how that happens? What?
Which one they prioritize?
Yeah, which is prioritized?
I think you just stated that the student would prioritize it.
Yeah, I mean, our practice is the student, I wouldn't want to say you have to go to choir when the student wants to go to basketball, and or you have to go to basketball and the student would prefer to go to choir. I would want to talk to the student and their parent first, and not have a policy that's saying which way it has to go.
And my understanding would be if they're opting for the non-curriculum organization over the curriculum based, there could be a consequence.
Mm-hmm.
There could be,
Sure.
if it's a curriculum based organization, choir, for example, and they make it a doc in their grade if they choose not to go to a vocal concert over a
And the student could
non-curriculum.
use that to
Yes.
make the decision,
Right,
say,
right.
I need to go to curriculum based.
And I just talked to Bill Mueller about that, and he heavily works, like that's an outside chance that that's happening. He always has he encourages his people to have alternative assessments to assess them so that they're not, if you have an 8th grade. And we do our absolute best, but we're also at the whim of the Hawkeye 10 and scheduling 10 other people's events. So if it falls, and then we also have meetings at the beginning of the year with Fine Arts to try to find the best nights, but you're gonna have nights where we have 7th and 8th grade basketball and we have a choir concert at the same time. So do our best.
I don't know how much it fits to this discussion, but we attempt, I think, in our policy work to keep our policies from being too restrictive and let them be a little bit freewheeling a little bit on, and so that maybe the handbook deals more with it or something. But if we get too restrictive in our policies, then it can come back and cause other problems. But policies, it's a pretty strong, heavyweight thing.
Is it clear to the students when they make those choices, the ramifications, like if they're in a situation where they are choosing one over the other, that this is what's gonna happen or expect this?
I would think that the student would speak with the teacher, if they're going to basketball, or speak with the coach, and before they make that decision, they know what, and the teacher or coach already knows, and they can be fair and equitable across the board, so
Just on the thought of no surprises, because if the student is really making the decision and then something happens grade-wise, the parent's not coming around and being like, we didn't know that was gonna happen, kind of thing.
So could this be even like if there's so does this pertain to sporting events? Like if they have a sporting event going on, like let's say they got a golf meet at whatever and then they gotta miss 2 classes that day. Is that what we're discussing?
No. These are organizations.
Just
organizations,
okay.
Yeah.
I've had kids miss, not necessarily games, but football practices because they're in FFA meetings or they're heavily involved in that.
Right.
So there's two, and we're talking more about events, but yet there's two kind of crossing over there and a good crossover.
And we want students to be as involved and active in as many things as we can.
It's a good problem
So
to
it's
have, actually.
It is a ongoing conversation, like I know Anthony has with his coaches and sponsors, and we have to share. There's only so much time in a student's day, and we don't want to, have them here from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. But some of that is their choice. If they are involved, then what a good skill to learn on how to manage your time and how to be equitable in what you're involved in, and how to be, excellent in what you do.
That's why I like the policy to be loose enough to where it allows for that flexibility.
Yeah.
I think a good example of the teachers working with the coaches would be BPA. BPA always falls in line with some basketball games, right? Is it basketball or is it
Yeah, it's
track?
basketball. It's like February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mr. Swanson was always good about getting those students back from Des Moines, or doing what he could. That's where I think that curriculum-based organization versus non-curriculum, it is good, and it's good for the students to see the teachers, the coaches working together to make it work.
Jamie Anderson had a private car, or a school-related car, bring a bowler back so they could make the concert tonight. So that's a perfect example. And we continue, I don't know, I probably used it 100 times over the last few years, sharing our students, not my students.
Right.
So, or my athletes, or my choir, we share our athletes
Those
and
are
our
the things we want
activities.
to have.
So,
Any other questions on the second reading? Any motion to approve?
So moved.
Jen?
So moved.
And then
I will
Roger?
second that.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Consent agenda. Have any questions with a consent agenda?
Didn't see anything that jumped out as being questionable.
Is it the whole thing?
Yeah, I didn't see
Is the
anything
consent,
about
are you
it.
talking about the whole thing or A and B?
All of the consent agenda.
Okay, I had a question about one of the costs and not necessarily, we pay Iowa Western tuition $189,470. What do we do with kids that fail classes? How are those compensated? And how do we hold them accountable? Because I think that's important.
So we pay for those classes that are failed, and then we discuss the situation with the students if they want to take another class, because that failure is on their transcript, and Lori can probably talk to more to this, but as a school.
D is, I really don't think will transfer, will it?
Well,
Most of the time, yeah.
Probably not, but as a school district, we cannot deny, it's a state law, we cannot deny a student going to any class that any school district in Iowa cannot deny. If they go to DMAC, they can't say no. So we can discuss and discuss and discuss with that child, like, you know what, you didn't do well on this last one, or I think this one's gonna be really difficult, and we can do our best, but if they say no, I absolutely wanna take it, we can't deny.
Is that the same as pay for?
Yes,
It is.
yes. To pay for.
Oh, yeah.
We have to pay for them, yes. And so I hear your frustration, but that is something that's in the Iowa code, that you cannot deny them that. So
And can
Lori.
they take the class again and we have to pay for it again?
Lori? Yes. Yeah.
I've asked that question.
But that's Iowa State.
I can add to that, so some deterrents to help them think through if they really want to take that class and take on that workload. We only allow the first 3 days of the semester for withdrawal. So they can't go 2 months into the semester and then all of a sudden want to withdraw. So we just do like the first 3 days, and then after that, I rarely allow a withdrawal. Instead, they keep that F on their college transcript and they get an F on their high school transcript. So it does impact their GPA. That's the biggest deterrent.
Does it impact like off campus Like,
Yes.
like they have open campus, do they?
It can, yeah. It does, the college classes don't, honestly. It's a separate, we don't get a lot of grades. We do get some grade updates, but they are a true college student when they take those
Right.
classes.
They don't show
So,
up in Power School, I understand.
We talk to we over communicate on
Right.
the importance of signing up and taking classes that you feel you'll be successful in, especially like an online class. Students think that they are able to handle that online class load and have to, there's a learning process and time management in following through. They'll come in a month in and say, I didn't know it was gonna be like this, I wanna withdraw. We over communicate, they sign things, we have someone come and speak to them at the beginning of the year. We try our very best to make sure they know what's coming in, and then we try to work through with them on, you don't just quit, find a way to keep learning and get it done. So that's the biggest fight I could come up with as far as, and I've spoken with like the Hawkeye 10, other high school principals, and they're also in the same boat, and so that's kind of common practice is keep it up. I mean, it hurts and it impacts financial aid down the line, and I mean, it's not to say that there's not others, like special circumstances with some students where it's like, okay, yes, I'll approve a withdrawal here, but it's meetings and conversations, and they have to really feel the need and justify it to me, otherwise they stay in.
Teaches them self-discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Responsibility.
And don't sign up then
Yeah.
for that many classes or,
And I think this is another reminder that there's a lot of value in legislative advocacy to give, because they're looking for input from us
Yeah.
as to why they should maybe look at it differently. And so that they do value hearing from us.
I think it's an equity situation, so we don't want to deter any student from choosing to take a class and get some college credit and, get themselves a step ahead if they think that the issue could be, if I fail, there's $900 on the line or whatever it is for that class. So then that becomes an equity deterrent for, so then we're just.
But we don't wanna entitle either.
But that's why the state has that law.
Right.
But it's an equity
The
issue
state looks at it,
across
it
the
could also
board.
be a funds issue. We say,
Yeah.
okay, we have $100,000, we're not gonna spend more than that, so you only get to approve that many students.
Yeah.
It would make sense so that if they fail it, the next time they'd have to pay for it, but again, we
Yeah.
can't make them do that.
Yeah.
But that, to me,
That makes sense to
that
me,
makes
but
a lot of
yes.
Or
sense.
limit the next time.
What's that?
Or limit the next,
Yeah.
yeah, you failed this time.
There's lots and lots of conversations,
Yeah.
for sure.
Right. I just wondered how that.
Yeah.
I wondered about the Four Seasons fundraising, what that was.
That I've already got asked that once. That's the, FFA does a large fundraiser in the fall. I don't know what they all sell, to be honest with you, but it's a large fundraiser. And this is, the majority of the items are purchased through Four Seasons fundraising. They went to that one. They went to that one several years ago because they can get it all in one spot and it just makes it easier. And this is probably the largest check we've ever written to them, so let's just say FFA must have had a really good sales.
Yeah, so basically all that money
It's in
comes
and
back
out.
in.
Yeah,
It's
it's
in
in
and
and
out.
out, and it's more. They've made more, that's a
They do,
fundraiser.
they actually handle a lot of what they do, like for their travel and stuff, just by this one fundraiser.
They don't ask for very many additional dollars at all.
Good question. I've got to ask that one twice.
Any other questions? All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We are to adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.